Hey guys, what's going on? So, in celebration of the new update, I figured this was a great time to actually go back and rank all of the maps that are in the game right now. And to do this, of course, we're recruiting the help of our good friend Tier List Maker, where we're going to be ranking the 32 active maps in the game right now. It's been a long time since we did one of these. I just went back and I was like, oh, I feel like I remember doing this at some point. We did. It was 3 years ago. And surprisingly enough, the maps have significantly changed since then. So, without further ado, let's get right into this. Starting off our list, we have Bazaar. Bazaar is such a good map, in my opinion. It's honestly a personal favorite of mine. I think in the original video, we ranked it number 1. And honestly, I can't really disagree with that. It's got a perfect mix of close range, long range. The spawns aren't completely terrible, which is seldom seen in Phantom Forces. And honestly, the vibes of the map are just good overall. I love the aesthetic. I love the different corridors. I think they're very unique and very specific to Bazaar. And sometimes when I load up Phantom Forces, I go straight to the server browser and look for Bazaar specifically. So I'm a big fan, and you'll often see Bazaar being I think Bazaar is my number 1 most clipped map. Probably because I play it the most. So I'm going to have to put that straight into S tier. Moving right along, we have Black Site. Black Site's a super big fan favorite. I'm not nearly as keen on it as some people, because I know some people are like, ride or die Black Site. Black Site's one of the best maps. I like Black Site. I think the inside of Black Site's really well designed. I think there's some good, I think the storage, like, warehouse garage sections, really well designed and well mapped out. The main cells are also really well done with the holes in the walls, and they kind of lead into each other to the infirmary and kitchen area. I think that's all really well done, but I'm not a fan of the outside, and especially not, like, there's a lot of places where you can have really cheeky angles on, like, spawns, especially through, like, the vents from the outside. Some of the hallways go way too far and way too long. I think it could use some improvement, but honestly, it's still a really good overall map. It's multiple layered, it has dimension. I think you can't really go wrong with a game on Black Site. So I'm going to put this one solidly in A tier. Next up, we have Castle Keep. This one's an older map, and honestly, it's a really fun map. I think Castle Keep's most redeeming quality is the design. I think it's really aesthetically pleasing, but there's a lot of parts of it that I think could use some serious improvement if we wanted to go back and actually rework the map. It's almost entirely long range. A lot of the walls are not really, like, you can't get penetration kills. The inside section is really cramped, and a lot of people tend to gravitate straight towards a very, very short inside section near the middle of the map. And the main actual center of the map where the hill usually is, not a fan. I think it's very over-congested because of how many different vantage points there are staring down at the center. So honestly, I like Castle Keep visually, but I'm going to have to put this solidly in B tier. Next up, we have Containers of Fun. I love Containers of Fun. Obviously, it's based off of Shipment from Call of Duty. I mean, I don't know why anyone would complain about that. Shipment's one of the most fun. Okay, maybe not fun, but it's the best for camo grinding, and we all know that. So this is Containers of Fun makes the fastest pace map of the game. Every game on Containers of Fun always ends early. You will never have a deathmatch in Containers of Fun actually last the entire time limit. It's great for grinding kills, testing out new weapons, especially shotguns. I feel like shotguns are, some might say ruin the round of containers, but yeah, someone's always using a shotgun, and you always note, yeah, he's got a shotgun. This isn't fun anymore. But I'm a big fan. I think it's a perfect mix of open space and closed containers and corridors-esque deal. I think it's a great mix of open space and close range combat. So I'm going to put this in S tier, mainly because it's so fun to play. Crane Site. The original Crane Site is a really, really good map. I love the fact, I think it's very innovative that they have you actually able to access the crane. This always created a really fun dynamic where the people on the bottom were always aware what team occupied the crane at any given time. I think it was very well done having one crane. Yeah, it was a little unfair sometimes when one team started on the crane and they could stay up there. But honestly, being on the crane wasn't all that because snipers can actually get the people on the crane too. I think the buildings are very well placed, and getting from one building to another was always a little risky, and it gave you a little rush of adrenaline. So I'm a big fan of Crane Site. I don't think it's like the best map ever, but Crane Site is OG Phantom Forces map. So I'm going to have to put this in A. A little bit of nostalgia, but I think it is an overall good map. Dual Crane Site, on the other hand, not nostalgic. So Dual Crane Site is pretty much Crane Site, but we're going to expand it and add a complex of 2 more buildings and another crane. I don't think that makes it inherently bad, but it's such a large map. Crane to crane, it's a very long map, and there's so many big buildings. So the parking garage is still there. The parking garage is huge, and that's like the standard for the building size. So I think when you have 32 people on this map, it's really spread thin. It's hard to find people sometimes. I feel like it kind of takes away the magic of the crane when nobody's actually going on it. Everyone's just running around the buildings trying to find other people. So I don't think it's nearly as well balanced. And especially not when everyone always congregates towards that weird truck in between the parking garage and the new section. I don't like that section at all. I don't think it's well designed. I think it's just asking for people to stand on top of the building and wait and just watch people kind of try and cross and just pick them off. So honestly, Dual Crane Site's gonna have to be sitting at C for me. I'm not a big fan. Moving along, we have Derrick. I remember when Derrick came out, and I actually really didn't like it, but it has really grown on me. You just have to go into Derrick knowing that it's gonna be we're using rifles or farther range. You can't really use a shotgun. You can't really use a pistol. You have to use a bigger gun. Derrick is like the perfect LMG sniper type map, where there's a lot of buildings, but they're not necessarily pivotal to actually playing the game. Most people tend to stay outside and hug the corners of the buildings, run around, try and get towards the center, and then everyone just kind of meanders about in the center. I think it's a good dynamic. I think it's very unique and very fun. I will say aesthetically it's not very pleasing. Every building looks the exact same, but I think that's also kind of the idea of Derrick, so I can't really knock it too hard for that. For me, I think I'm going to have to put Derrick in B tier. It's not amazing at any one thing, and that's kind of where it like kind of stands down. It's just, oh yeah, long range map. We're going to be playing this again right now. All right, next up we got Desert Storm, not Second Storm. Desert Storm is a really good map, obviously. I mean, it's kind of a cornerstone of Phantom Forces at this point. It's got the perfect blend of long range, short range. We got a little bit of medium range in there. You can easily play the entire game using a sniper and never have an issue. Or you can play the entire game using a close-range SMG, and as long as you know where to go, you know the routes. Oh, we're going to train along the side, we're going to go to the little underground corridor thing, get into the other person's spawn. As long as you know like the base idea of the map, you will never have an issue using any gun you want to. Desert Storm is really well designed. There's lots of perfectly placed jumps and dolphin dives and stuff to get to new places. I think the mobility from rooftop to rooftop when there's flat rooftops kind of was a pioneer in that sense, and it makes it really easy to traverse the map. I mean, honestly, there's not really anything you can complain about. It's pretty amazing at everything. I think Desert Storm is one of the best maps in the game, hands down, and I think you'd be hard-pressed to find someone that doesn't agree with that statement. So that's going to be an S tier for me. Next up is Dunes, the iconic sniper map. We're going to sit back on the water tower, and we're going to look at the gas station from across the map, and we're just going to try to snipe them. So it's kind of gravitated more and more away from that as time goes on, as people start rushing the sides and going into the apartments and stuff. But I think Dunes has a lot of potential. I think that the way that Phantom Forces players play tends to take fun out of the actual map. I don't think the map's bad at all. I think it's well designed. I think there's a lot of opportunities for long range and close range. Well, maybe more medium range and close range, but I think it is overall a well-designed map. When you're playing Dunes, I think to get the most out of it, it has to be either King of the Hill or Hardpoint or something like that to actually force people to get out of their spawn. A good Dunes match can be really, really fun, so I'm going to put that at A tier. Next up is Dust Bowl, which has a very similar vibe to Dunes. It's still based in the motel. It's still mainly going to be long range. It has the gas station. It's just everything's swapped around a little bit. There's a lot more sinking and rising areas in Dust Bowl There's a lot more access to inside the buildings, which I think takes away from the part of Dunes, which was really fun, where everybody's kind of forced to fight. Dust Bowl's got a lot of hiding spots. It's a lot more detailed, granted. They have the train, they have the tank. Each apartment actually has, like, you know, beds and stuff. It's a lot more detail-oriented, which looks way nicer visually. But I think gameplay, it kind of stagnates because of how many different, like, points of interest there are. Because each building has their own thing. And I don't think people really like to deviate from the side that they spawn in on. Much like Dunes, you kind of gravitate towards the rooftops and kind of just chill and snipe. But I don't think that fits this map nearly as well when there's so many different, like, recesses to hide in and rooms to take cover in. So I think Dust Bowl for me is probably going to be a C tier map. But it stays out of D tier because I think it's really aesthetically pleasing. Next up, we have Elevation. Elevation is an ugly map. I'm just going to say that it's an ugly map, but it plays really well. Each area is well thought out. There's a lot of great spots for close range, but also strategically positioning yourself. You can easily have mid to long range. It's on the smaller side of maps, but there's 2 distinct layers, which makes it play really well and unique. We don't see that in a whole lot of maps, and I'm a big fan of that. I think Elevation is probably the map that does this 2-layer idea best, other than like Metro or something, but that's not a fair comparison. There's just a lot going on in Elevation that's clearly well designed for the players. Elevation probably has the best jumping from place to place. Like, you need decent mobility to get around Elevation. While it's more rewarding for advanced players, I think it definitely can put a hindrance on newer players who haven't quite figured out, oh, how do I double jump to get up to this section? And that definitely takes away some of the fun in it. So I think Elevation can be really fun. I feel like it rewards more advanced players significantly more than other maps do, which can make it kind of unfair and uneven. Especially if these newer players, like, if you've never played on Elevation, you're not going to know how to, like, go through the tunnels underground and get from spawn A to spawn B, which I think is a very, very common strategy in Elevation. So I'm going to put Elevation in A tier because it's very carefully designed for Phantom Forces, but at the same time, it still has some weaknesses. Next up, we have Facility. I hate Facility. Facility is so... It's a massive map. First off, it's absolutely massive. The buildings are huge. Each building has multiple floors. Most of the rooms, like, each building is made of a couple rooms. The rooms are entirely empty except for the one hill room where it's like an IKEA, like, kind of warehouse-esque deal. I don't like it. I don't think it's too well designed. I think the main room with the warehouse, like, panels is fine, but the rest of the map is almost entirely outside. There's a lot of, like, running alongside walls to try not to get shot. It doesn't feel like Phantom Forces. It's not fast-paced. I think Facility is decent in Capture the Flag. I think it's decent in King of the Hill. But in Team Deathmatch, it's just too big of a map. There's too many different moving parts. I don't like Facility as a map overall. I think it leaves a lot to be desired in a lot of ways. And it's almost all long range. I mean, yeah, there's a main room, but everything else is long range because the inside rooms are so big that you have to use a rifle or SMG or something bigger for every room in it anyways. So you might as well just sit there trained on the windows. Facility is unfortunately going to be our first D tier for me. I really don't like Facility. I want them to remove it from the active maps pool sooner rather than later. Next up, we have Favela. And whenever I think Favela, I always think the Rainbow Six map. I like the Rainbow Six map. I know a lot of people don't, but I'm a big fan. And not even biased because of that, but I think Favela has one of the best, like, actual atmospheres of any map in Phantom Forces. It's unique. You're on a street. It gives a lot of character. Like, you don't see a lot of character. Like, with Elevation, it's just all gray. It's bland. It's made to play well. Favela's designed so that it's like a realistic town. I love it. I think Favela's designed so great. I just think the map is too big. I think the outskirts are never utilized. Everyone just goes straight to the middle section in the little town square. But I think each corridor and alleyway is so well placed. You're always going to run into someone, whether you want to or not. And I think that's great. I think the church is a very well placed addition to the map. I think Favela is a really, really fun map overall to play, with the streets switching to alleyways, switching to the main square. And then in the main square, there's layers where you can get on top of roofs. I think it's so well designed. I wish you could get on more roofs in Favela. Yes, that would definitely add a level of difficulty to playing it and running around streets, but I think that could be really interesting and would make the map much more unique. But Favela, I know this is a hot take. I know a lot of people don't like Favela, but I think it's a really, really well-designed map that goes underappreciated. So I'm going to put this in A tier. Fortress is a great blend of visual appeal and actual gameplay. Each room is actually dedicated to something like a real room in a Call of Duty map would be, and the rooms are well thought out and placed next to each other in ways that make sense. The spawns are relatively close together, which makes for fast-paced action. The main center section has a lot of really interesting jumps and different angles you can hold to get unique kills. I think every part of Fortress is well planned out, and it all funnels people into the center to make a really exciting match. Fortress is clearly well thought out, well designed. Other than the pier section, and which I don't really know why it exists in the first place, it's a very mid-range oriented map. There's not a lot of super close range, there's not a lot of super long range, which I think makes it everyone on kind of an even playing field. Like, you know what you're getting into with Fortress. And the colors are the best of any map in the game. I love the colors in Fortress. It's just so, it's summer, it feels good to play on. I'm always smiling when I'm playing Fortress. Maybe that's just me, but I love Fortress. I think Fortress is an S tier. If you hate it, that's too bad. I love Fortress. I'm happy it's still in rotation. Next up, we have Foxholes. So Foxholes is trying to be like war era. Everything's a little bit darker and grayer. We have a vignette on our screen kind of deal. And it's a huge map. So Foxholes is kind of more like we're playing Battlefield 1 rather than anything else. And for me, that just doesn't do it. That's not what Phantom Forces is. Phantom Forces is supposed to be a high-intensity, fast-paced game. Foxholes tries to slow that down, and I don't think it works. Visually, the map is well-designed. I don't think Foxholes is well thought out. People don't really have angles, specific angles that they want to hold. It just turns into, I'm just kind of walking around aimlessly. Like, I've played Foxholes dozens of times, and I'm still like, I don't particularly like any spots. I don't particularly have a good route that I always follow. Foxholes doesn't have a lot of interesting points. Everything's just kind of, we're out in the wilderness. There's no like well-designed main room, anything like that. Foxholes is just a total miss for me. And the gray just brings down the mood. I feel like Phantom Forces, sometimes we try to like make it a little bit more realistic, a little bit more nitty-gritty, but that's not what Phantom Forces does. It's a fast-paced arcade shooter style game. We should really be focusing more on brighter colors like Fortress, Favela, next map's going to be Heat, another one. I think it doesn't make sense. Foxholes never made sense to me, and I really don't like it. So that's going to be stuck in D tier for me. And it's just too big overall. I don't like running around Foxholes. It's not a fun experience. Next up, we have Heat, which is another one I feel like they really outdid themselves with aesthetics, and it's also well designed. I think Heat can play so well with certain game modes. Specifically, Hardpoint I think is very fun on Heat. I think all the buildings' placements make a lot of sense. I think the rocks are a really good addition because we don't usually see rocks and cliffs in the way that we do in Heat, which makes it a more organic map, and also it plays well. So clearly a lot of thought process and planning the map must have gone into Heat. This mixed with the aesthetics of the palm trees, the more culturally styled buildings, I think it's so good. It's so well designed, but I just think the gameplay doesn't quite stand up to the gameplay in like Fortress or Bazaar or something. So I personally love Heat, but I can't put it consciously above A tier. All right, next up we have Height. Height has been around for a little bit now. It's the classic this side versus this side, and we're going to have 3 different routes to get to each side in between. So this fosters a really interesting sniper mechanic where you have most of the teams posed with long-range guns, LMGs usually, snipers, something like that on the top, while people try to run through these semi-covered tunnels to the other side to try and get into their spawn. I think that's a really interesting way of doing it. It reminds me a lot of a TF2 map. I'm sure a lot of other people will feel that way too. It plays like TF2. It's fast-paced, and it accommodates for every playstyle. You can easily run any kind of gun, and it'll work on Height. Granted, I think snipers are obviously the best, but, you know. Again, it's not visually appealing in any way, but there's a lot of cover, and it makes sense when you play the map. Like, you can take cover anywhere, and it's all viable. No side has a significant advantage over the other, but each side has different features. And I'm a big fan of the two offshoot tunnels where there's the chassis kind of like blocking them in. I think those are really fun and often make for fun fights of like 2 to 3 people on each team in certain handfuls. It's just sometimes those can be completely destroyed by a couple grenades. I think Height can be a very fun map. It's just you need a good lobby where not everybody's running around all the time or where not everybody's sniping all the time. I think if you get a good mix of both, it can be very fun. But it gets really stale really fast if everyone's just too scared to push the other side or everybody's just stuck spawn camping one side. And because of that, I think I'm going to put it in B tier. All right, moving right along, we have hit Highway a lot. If you've played Phantom Forces, you've played on Highway a lot. Like, I adore Highway a lot. I think it's very well designed. It's a primarily long-range map, but once you get inside, everything turns short range, close range. Shotguns are fair game. SMGs, pistols, whatever you want to try in Highway lot works. The buildings are perfectly spaced out. I love the glass section on the main dome building. Fighting in the main dome building plus the hallway to the other side spawn area, great. It's so well designed. Some people still go on the actual highway, which I think gives a nice layer of danger on the map where you can always be sniped at any time when you go outside. And because the roofs are so accessible through the one hill in the middle of the map, I think it makes for a very interesting dynamic where you always have to be like looking above, looking to your left, to your right. It's great. It's fun. It's just good fun. You can get killed from above at any point in the map and you'd be none the wiser. For all those reasons, I have to put Highway Lot in S tier. I love Highway Lot. Everyone loves Highway Lot. I don't know why anyone would complain about getting queued up in a Highway Lot match. Coming up next, we have Marooned, which is a newer edition in 2025, I think. It was Marooned and Villa that came in together. Of the two, I like Marooned a lot more. Marooned has a great vibe overall. I think it's very unique compared to the other maps. All the other maps are very industrial. We're in a city, we're in a town, we're on a highway, we're in a metro. Marooned is just you're out on an island. Yeah, there's a building or two, but it's mostly just you and a lot of rocks and the beach. I love the vibe. I love the aesthetics of it. I just think that a lot of the time it ends up being everybody kind of runs to the middle to the main cave. And I haven't played Marooned all that much because nobody ever wants to vote it in. But I think Marooned can be really fun, honestly. I know that's kind of a hot take because there's a lot of Marooned haters. But Marooned has potential to be really fun. It's just people need to be more comfortable with the map and more willing to go somewhere other than just the direct middle between the two spawns every single time. So, yeah, I think I'm going to put Marooned in B tier, mainly because of potential, honestly. I feel like if people were more comfortable playing Marooned, it could be so fun, but nobody ever votes it in. It's untapped potential. Coming up next, we have Metro 2025 and Metro Classic. I'm actually going to start with ranking Classic first because I think that's more fair. Classic is an iconic map, but there are so many issues with it. I mean, this is the original spawn camping map. If the other team gets into your spawn, there is genuinely nothing you can do sometimes because you'll have people from every angle, up every single escalator, and they'll just be beaming you down, and you can't do much because they have cover, they have first shot advantage. While you're the one coming out of your spawn, you have to push the escalator. It's a bad situation overall for everybody involved. The escalators are too close to where you spawn in, especially on like Capture the Flag or something. Like if they get into your spawn and they're stuck there, which they always do. That's the whole point of Metro. Everybody tries to get into the other person's spawn and spawn camp. But once that happens, it's game over. Like you're going to be stuck in a pain and torment cycle most of the time. Or in that one chamber where there's the stairs up and everybody's always spamming like on the side of the middle of the map. I don't know, that was a really bad description, but that room also can get really congested. Everybody has their little like pivotal points, like, oh, this hallway I'm going to sit with an LMG proned in the back corner and I'm just going to sit here all game. Oh, I'm going to sit in this arcade section with the games and I'm going to sit with my NTW and watch people through the walls because the walls are easy to penetrate in this game. I think Metro Classic is nostalgic, but unfortunately it's really not a good map. Fun to play, but it's poorly designed, I think. So I'm going to put Metro Classic in C tier just because I still enjoy a game on Metro Classic. It's just there's so many glaring issues. And that leads us into Metro 2025, the revamp version of Metro, where they added a lot more barriers and a lot more like fail safes for each escalator. The actual spawns are wider. The trains are wider and harder to see through, so you actually have to kind of go through. You have to shoot the glass out to get through. And running through the side corridors from spawn to spawn, much, much better in 2025. It's also overall more visually appealing. Arcade room actually gets some arcade stuff. There's just a lot more going on in 2025, but it's still a condensed map, which makes the pacing really fun, really fast. So I think Metro 2025, sometimes the revamps aren't necessarily good, but Metro 2025 is a great revamp. I think it improves on a lot of the issues. The spawns are so much better. The spawn killing was the crux of the issue in Metro Classic, and 2025 really fixes a lot of it. So I'm going to put 2025 in A tier, actually, so it's going to get bumped up 2 whole tiers. Speaking of revamps, Mirage Revamp, not it. It's not it. It never has been it. I've been a Mirage Revamp hater for the longest time. It's just a sniper map. Like, I get that that's what some people are looking for, but there's so little variance in gameplay in Mirage. You load up a Mirage map, it's going to be the same game every time. It's just going to be half the team is sitting in each building, sniping the others. Maybe you'll get a couple stragglers running around, but it's never enough to get more than like a couple kills, and then you'll just get sniped from out of the side of nowhere. And it's not a particularly fun sniping map either, because there's only so many vantage points you can sit at. It's like you load in and you look for the buzz spots, like, oh, there's gonna be 3 people in this spot. There's gonna be a couple people on top of their spawn and on top of their building, prone to crouch, something like that. There's gonna be someone hiding around the big concrete pillar, and they're just gonna keep alternating sides. Every game on this map kind of plays out the same way, and I don't like that. So for that, I'm gonna put it in D tier. It's just gameplay on Mirage is so stale and boring. Next up, we have Penthouse. Penthouse is always a fun one. I love Penthouse. It is a large open-air center section with the bar at the top. So you have spots where you can hold angles, but they're not particularly overpowered because you can easily wallbang through the bar. The stairs are pretty easy to get to on each side of the spawn, so you can get up there easily. The main area is so well designed with the glass. You can see every hallway pretty much. You can see each of the spawns essentially, and I think Penthouse for that is really unique. It's great for team gameplay. It's especially fun because each of the hallways are so big that you can fit like half the team in them, and then it kind of becomes like team-on-team warfare, which you don't see a whole lot in Phantom Forces. So I think Penthouse, just because of how confined the corners of the map are, but still giving so much in the way of freedom and whichever way you can take the game, Penthouse is a great map. I've always been a fan of Penthouse as it accommodates for every style of gun, every play style you can imagine. If you want to camp, you can easily camp the entire game and still have a good time. If you want to be running around with your knife out, it works on Penthouse. There's just so many different corners you can hide in, but the rooms are still so big. They're well thought out. You can get from room to room easily, and there's a whole bunch of side routes that people don't even usually access. But it makes every part of the map super accessible. So Penthouse is going to be an S tier for me. Wow, we're really cramming a lot of stuff in S tier. I need to slow down. Coming up next, we have Ravod 2016, which everyone knows this map. Another iconic Phantom Forces map from 2016, obviously. So back in the golden age of Phantom Forces, one might say, where it contains 2 big warehouses attached by a couple pipelines. But 2016 also has the underground run in between each section. So a little basement section plays really well for King of the Hill and Hardpoint, and also Capture the Flag. So honestly, Ravod is perfect for a lot of the capture game modes. But that being said, it's not bad at Team Deathmatch either. It's just Kill Confirm can be kind of on it because of how open the map is and how far everything is apart from each other. But they really keep it simple with just a couple buildings. There's a tank line, so there's cover everywhere. There's trees, there's cover, there's shipment crates, there's pipes everywhere. And the levels to each of the warehouses make for really interesting gameplay because within just the warehouse on the left, per se, you can be on the top layer in the pipes on the roof and looking down. You can be above the green little catwalk scaffolding thing. You can be on the ground floor, or you can be in the basement. And the basement has stairs that attach outside, which then can lead straight into a ladder that leads to the roof. So everything's well attached, and you can easily traverse the map from point A to point B. And all this is happening while you have to be constantly wary of snipers and long-range guns, because everything is kind of open air, but at the same time kind of covered. So it makes for a really interesting dynamic, and I think it's really well designed and well thought out. I think Ravod has to go in A tier, just it's a good map. It's another good map, man. Next up is Rig. I'm a big fan of the colors of Rig. It's unique. You see the orange, you know what you're getting into. No other map has quite a defining look as Rig does. Rig's whole thing is that everybody needs to go to the center. We're going to have 4 different layers, and you can shoot out the windows and just shoot from center to center. And that's pretty much the entirety of the gameplay. Yes, it gets stale sometimes, but at the same time, I think it not so much as like Dust Bowl or something else. And I don't think it's particularly well done either, the layers, because they're just kind of empty rooms stacked on top of each other with stairs and ladders to get from one to another. I think a match on Rig can be really fun. I mean, there's just not a whole lot to say. It's a really small map with really tall buildings, but not particularly like in-depth buildings. And honestly, each one doesn't even have access to one another other than the scaffolding. So for me, Rig's going to be a C tier. It just doesn't have any super defining features. Don't get me wrong, it's great for quick kills, but it's not a super exhilarating map to play. Next up, we have Ruins. And I have some strong opinions on Ruins too. I don't understand what anybody was thinking when designing this map. I like the main section. I think the wooden areas are kind of silly. And I think the window-to-window fighting is really just boring. Aesthetically, it's great. I think it's a great idea with the pews everywhere and with the tree and the hole in the center. But honestly, it just turns into people spamming grenades, sitting on top of stuff. There's too much benefit of sitting in high grounds on this map in comparison to low grounds. Like, if you're stuck on the ground, you're pretty much fish in a barrel. Like, it's not good. Like, the team that gets on top and holds the top first is going to dominate most of the match. And that's not even talking about the underground network system. Completely useless. Nobody uses it. And it just makes, if you get stuck down there, you're now stuck in Walking Simulator. So I think Ruins tried to accomplish a lot of things and missed on almost everything, to be so honest with you. So Ruins is going to be our next D tier edition for me. Speaking of a map that tries to accomplish too much, next up we have Rundown, another newer addition to the game. There's just so much going on Rundown, and none of it's in a great way. Rundown isn't a particularly large map, but the way that it's oriented makes it feel so big and so confusing. There aren't a whole lot of defining features of the map. There's obviously the main section, there's like rebar, there's the truck, but for the most part, Rundown is pretty much, we're going to rinse and repeat. Every single spot is going to have a couple tubes, a couple crates, and a lot of dirt piled in weird areas, and maybe a cargo crate or two. And that's going to be every single point of interest, which makes for a really, really boring map. The only defining feature that comes to mind is the bus and the one rundown building where the point is. And those are both so close to each other, it's like, all right, so we really only have the middle. And Rundown, all of it looks so similar. The colors are stale. We got some blues, we got some purples here and there, but everything else is just gray and brown. And it's not particularly fun to play. So Rundown tries to be something. I'll give it C tier because it tries to be something. And it works sometimes, but a lot of the time it's just a miss. Next up, we have Second Storm. Second Storm takes Desert Storm and revamps it a little bit. I don't know how most people feel about this one, but for me, the fog kind of takes away the, everywhere's a threat kind of feeling. Like, it kind of makes it feel eerie, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, sniping on Second Storm isn't nearly as good. The only real significant differences are aesthetics and the fog. I mean, yeah, they add like a tank here or there, and Second Storm's usually the one that everyone votes in. I used to be more keen on Second Storm, but then the more I play, it's like, it's just a little bit bigger than Desert Storm, and the spawns are a little bit, I actually think the spawns are a little bit worse on Second Storm. Like, they kind of jump around too much, and sometimes you'll just spawn right into the enemies, in my experience. So for me, Second Storm isn't a huge winner, and it's just a lot like Desert Storm, but honestly, it's not better in any one way. I think it's gonna have to go in A tier for me. It's just I'd rather play on Desert Storm. Next up, we have Suburbia. Suburbia is a classic. Everyone knows it. I'm not a huge fan of it though. That's the thing. I mean, obviously, a map in the suburbs makes sense. Like, we have every other urban area in the world. We need to have a map where it's just suburbs. And I do appreciate the fact that you can get on so many of the roofs. I think the jumping from window to window is great. Like being able to actually access the windows with a double jump from the main hill section is good. And I think the treehouse is a great addition that nobody really utilizes as much as they should maybe. But then you just have random stuff like the greenhouse and the pool just thrown in there so you have extra cover, so more hiding spots and able to hold harder angles, which I think kind of bogs down the game a little bit when Suburbia clearly feels like it should be fast paced, but it encourages a more like campy play style, which I'm not a huge fan of. In my mind, Suburbia should be, we're jumping house to house, we're never staying still, but it doesn't play like that in actuality because of the scale of the map and the scope of it. So for me, Suburbia is going to be solid B tier. It has a lot of things going for it, but it also has some improvements that I think could benefit it a lot. Next up, we have Transit. Transit is such a strange map, and it's like in a great way too. The vibe is a lot like Metro, but we have this one main section and so many different branching, connecting hallways from each side. I love Transit. I think it's a super creative map. I think it plays really well. Once you get in the middle, there's so many kills to be had, but you're guaranteed gonna die soon. Like, it's a high risk, high reward kind of map. I think that the back like pathways, the service tunnel kind of deals, I think there's too many of them. And when you go from one story to another story in the back and you're running around, it's very easy to get disoriented because there's not a lot of defining features of those pathways. And even in the main section, the iconic blue and like yellowish pillars, I think that sometimes it can be a little confusing, like orienting yourself on which direction's which can be a great thing. But at the same time, when the mainstay of the place is like octagon almost with different ways you can take, it can get really confusing. But you can use any gun on this map. Like there are so many places, like the cafe is a great place where you can just sit posted up with a shotgun. Or you can sit on the main escalator section and use a sniper the entire time. I think the ability to use any gun on this map is so great. So I'm going to put this in A tier. Comfortably in A tier. Now, another map which tries to force you to the middle is Villa. When Villa came out, I hated it. And to this day, I still hate it. I think Villa is a very poorly made map. I know that's going to catch some flack. I load into a map of Villa, and I'm just like, all right, I'm hitting the server browser immediately. It's almost like Rig in the fact that they have a center of the fountain's the center, and they have all these windows trained on it, but each floor is also this big empty room, and it doesn't really make sense. It doesn't mesh with the rest of the map. It's supposed to be this like European Villa style thing, obviously this upper class thing, but it just, the map doesn't vibe with the aesthetic. The rooms don't make sense next to each other. The stairs are just placed so that you can run up quickly and rotate around the map. Everything feels like a prop just for an all-right Phantom Forces map. And honestly, I don't think it's well done either because there's so many different points. It just feels like people looking at each other. And yeah, it's a who sees each other first kind of map. And that's who's going to get the kill. I think Capture the Flag on Villa might be one of the least fun experiences of all time. And honestly, I can't put Villa. I can't put Villa anywhere other than D tier for me. I really don't like this map. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to the Villa fans out there. And then finally, we have Warehouse. Another classic map where everything is made of styrofoam and you can shoot through a million walls. And LMG players love to absolutely take advantage of this. Yes, we're loading up Warehouse. Let me get out the M60 E6 and get penetration. Let's put armor piercing on it. Let's make everybody else's life a living hell. Now, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing because it keeps everyone on their toes. It can be fun. And when you're the one doing it, it's super fun. But Warehouse is definitely like the genesis of balancing issues in terms of penetration. Like the other day I was making the top 5 shotguns video. I was using the SCX on Warehouse and I was like, wow, I can't kill them through the walls because some guns just don't have penetration, and you're put at such a genuine disadvantage when you can't shoot through the walls. So yeah, I think Warehouse is well thought out and well designed, but I think the plywood walls are going to be a huge make or break for a lot of people. I think they're unique, and I think Warehouse has a very unique vibe that none of the other maps do. And I know there was one version of Warehouse where like lights off and they encourage you to use flashlights. I thought that was really cool. I thought the lights out version of Warehouse was significantly more fun than normal Warehouse. But the vibe of Warehouse overall, super fun. I think Warehouse solidly goes in A tier. even with all of its shortcomings that are balancing issues. But yeah, that's gonna be the Phantom Forces map tier list. So actually it ended up being really flat in the BCD category. I wasn't expecting to get 5, 5, and 5, which doesn't necessarily make it look like a tier list nearly as much, but it's okay. But overall, I'm pretty happy with this ranking. If there's any here that you would greatly, like, within the depths of your soul disagree with, let me know in the comments. I always love to hear what you guys think, because, I mean, at the end of the day, everything really is an opinion piece. So, if you guys want to say anything, just let me know in the comments. I always try my best to read them all. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a sub. Any form of support is so greatly appreciated. I really do notice. But yeah, make sure to stay tuned for the next video. As I promised, I'm making a lot more long form videos, so let me know if you guys are enjoying them. I can always switch back to shorts, but for the time being, long form is pretty fun. But I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great rest of your day.